Welcome to the Epic Monster Showdown. This will be a showdown of all 1 HP monsters as they go head to head to determine who the ultimate 1 HP monster is. Starting in round 1, we'll have the Owl taking on the Scorpion. We will then have the Weasel versus the Hawk. In round 2, the Bat will be waiting for the winner of the Owl versus Scorpion. We then move on to the Spider versus Seahorse. We then go to Piranha versus the winner of Weasel Hawk. And finally, we have the Rat versus the Frog. We start our action with the Owl versus Scorpion. We'll go ahead and roll initiative. The Owl gets a 2, the Scorpion gets a 9. It's worth noting the Owl does start on the ground. We'll start with the Scorpion, which is going to go ahead and approach the Owl. It is then going to try and sting the Owl. That is a 3 to hit. It does not hit. We move over to the Owl. The Owl is going to take flight and try to use its talons to attack the Scorpion. That is a 9 to hit. It does not hit. However, the Owl is going to use its flyby to fly out of the range of the Scorpion. The Scorpion will have no way to attack the Owl in the next turn. The Owl is going to come back down from the sky, screeching with another talons attack. That is a natural 20 to hit. It will hit, and that will deal 1 damage to the Scorpion, and that is a dead Scorpion. We move on to the Hawk versus the Weasel. We'll start by rolling initiative. The Hawk gets a 23, the Weasel gets a 5. We'll start with the Hawk, which is going to take flight and fly over to the Weasel. The Hawk is then going to try and use his talons to attack the Weasel. That is a 9 to hit. It will not hit. We move over to the Weasel. The Weasel is going to try and reply with a bite attack against the Hawk. That is an 8 to hit. It does not hit. We move back to the Hawk, which is once again going to try and attack with his talons. That is a 23 to hit. That will hit, dealing 1 damage to the Weasel, and that is a dead Weasel. Now move on to the Bat versus the Owl. We'll start by rolling initiative. The Bat gets a 7, the Owl gets a 7. We'll start with the Bat as it has the higher dexterity. The Bat is going to go ahead and fly over to the Owl, and it is then going to try and perform a bite attack against the Owl. That is a 9 to hit. It does not hit. We move over to the Owl, which is going to try and use its talons to attack the Bat. That is a 16 to hit. That does hit. That'll deal 1 damage to the Bat, and that is a dead Bat. Moving on, we have the Seahorse versus the Spider. How is this fight possible? We do not know, but we'll start by rolling initiative. The Seahorse gets a 7, the Spider gets a 5. We'll start with the Seahorse. The Seahorse realizing that it has literally no way to win this fight. It's just going to stand there like a brave Seahorse and accept its fate as we move on to the Spider. The Spider is going to go ahead and move towards the ever so brave Seahorse, and it is going to attempt a bite attack against the Seahorse. That is a 12 to hit. It will hit, and it is going to deal a whopping 1 piercing damage plus 1 poison damage for 2 damage, and that is a dead Seahorse. Move on to the Piranha versus the Hawk. Once again, how is this fight possible? We do not know, but we start with initiative. The Hawk gets an 18, the Piranha gets a 17. We'll start with the Hawk, which is going to fly over to the Piranha, and it is going to attempt a talons attack against the Piranha. That is a 16 to hit. It will hit, dealing 1 damage to the Piranha, and that is a dead Piranha. We move on to our final fight of the night as the Frog takes on the Rat. We'll start by rolling initiative. The Frog gets a 16, the Rat gets an 11. We'll start with the Frog, which is going to go ahead and move towards the Rat. It is then going to attempt to bite the Rat. That is a 12 to hit. That will hit. It is going to deal 1 damage to the Rat, and that is a dead Rat. We take a look at our updated bracket. In round 3, we will have the Owl taking on the Spider. Then we'll have the Hawk taking on the Frog. Down in Losers Round 1, we have the Rat versus the Scorpion and the Seahorse versus the Weasel. In Losers Round 2, you have the Piranha waiting for the winner of Rat and Scorpion and the Bat waiting for the winner of Seahorse and Weasel. That will be all for the action today. Be sure to tune back in for episode 2.